Okay, today we will present about chapter 1, that is
Principle of Agricultural Marketing.
what is the global market of agriculture commodity?
Global market is the activity of buying and selling goods and services in all the countries of the world, or the value of the goods and service sold. For the commodity it is a basic agricultural product that are either in their original form or have undergone only primary processing. Commodities coming from different suppliers and even different countries or continents are ready substitutes for one another. The example of a commodity firstly is energy. It is including crude oil, heating oil, natural gas, and gasoline. Second is metal. It is including gold, silver, platinum, and copper. The third one is livestock and meat. It is including lean hogs, it is pig and pork beef, live cattle and feeder cattle. And the last one is agricultural. It is including corn, soybeans, wheat, rice, cocoa, coffee, cotton, and sugar.
What in Malaysia agriculture commodity?
It is oil palm, rubber, paddy, cocoa, and other industrial crops.
What the demand and supply of agriculture commodity?
In market where price is not controlled, market price for the product or services is determined by the interaction of demand and supply. That is, the consumer willingness and ability to buy the product and the seller's willingness or ability to product and sell the product.
What the demand and supply of agriculture commodity?
In a market where the price is not controlled, market price for a product or services is determined by the interaction of demand and supply. That is, the customer willingness and ability to buy the product and the seller's willingness and ability to produce and sell the product.
What is the determination of demand?
Firstly is consumer taste and preferences. It is the customer interest in product A or product B. Second is number of buyers in market. It will increase number of interested buyers or customer will lead the number of demand of the product. Next is consumer income. It will an increase in consumer's income lead to more consumption of the product or less consumption of product.
Hey guys, Assalamualaikum.
Next is price of related goods such as substitute, complements, or independent. For example, at a price of fuel risk, consumers are less interested in buying a vehicle that has low gas mileage. In this example, fuel consumption is for complements a vehicle. Lastly, it is consumer expectation for the future. For example, if by now I think the increase in the price of this non-perishable product will be greater than the cost of storing the product.
How to determine the supply?
Firstly, resources or input costs. For example, an increase in the cost of livestock will cause producer to sell the livestock an earlier time at a lower weight, thereby reducing their output of pound of livestock. Next is production technology. An advance in the technology used to produce a product will lead to an increase the production of the product as food processing become more automated. Third one is taxes and subsidies. A supplier will refuse production if the cost production is the result of a less of tax or either other government. Fourth is price of other goods the supplier could produce. It is how does this relate to opportunity cost. And the fifth is suppliers' expectation about in the future. Expectation about future price of the product, which reflect expectation about the demand, future supply of the product. And the last one is number of suppliers in the market. What impact is information and transportation technology having on the number of within the seller core market? An increase in demand for your product without an increase in supply will lead to a higher market price for your product. And for the increase in supply of your product without an increase in demand will lead to a lowest product price for your product.
Why agriculture sector grow 8.1% in 2016?
In 2016, agricultural sector stood at 8.1% or 89.5 billion ringgit Malaysia to the gross domestic product. Oil palm was major contributor to the GDP of agricultural sector at 43.1%, followed by other agricultural, which is 19.5%. Livestock is 11.6%, and fishing is 11.5%, and the forestry and logging is 7.2%, and the rubber is 7.1%. The production of staple food, namely paddy, increased 768.9 thousand tons or 28.2% in 2016 as compared to 2015. Similarly, the production of cocoa bean and paper also increased by 5.9% and 3.3%. Meanwhile, the production of the fresh food branches, of oil palm, natural rubber, and kenaf, shows a decline.
What the Malaysia scenario of agriculture commodity?
It is oil palm is MPOB, rubber is MRB, paddy is Bernas, and the cocoa is MCB. For oil palm planted area in 2016, it is reached 5.74 million hectare, an increase of 1.7% as against 5.64 million hectares recorded in a previous year. This was mainly due to the increase in new planted areas, especially in Sarawak, which recorded an increase of 4.7%. Sabah is still the largest oil palm planted state, with 1.55 million hectares or 27% of the total oil palm planted area, followed by Sarawak with 1.51 million hectares or 26%. Meanwhile, Peninsula Malaysia, which is 11 states, accounted for 2.68 million hectares or 47% of total planted area. For the rubber world production, global production for product reached 27.2 million tons in 2016 at one average annual growth rate of 2.2% from 23.7 million tons in 2010. And the world consumption of rubber in 2016 increased by 4.5% year-on-year to 27.5 million tons as compared to 26.8 million tons in 2015. China, USA, India, Japan, Thailand, Brazil, Indonesia, Germany, and Russia were among the top consumers of rubber in 2016. For the Malaysia, production of rubber in Malaysia declined by 3.2% year-on-year to 795.9 thousand tons in 2016 as compared to the previous year. Smallholding sector was the main contributor to the production of natural rubber at 665.301 tons or 92.1% of the total production, while 7.9% was for estate sector. Planted area in 2015 was 995 and 733 hectares. A large portion of rubber planting was owned by smallholding sector of 919,901 hectares or 92.4% and 75,832 hectares or 7.6% was estate sector. Almost half of the natural rubber exported to China at 49.3%. This was followed by Germany, which is 12.8%, and Vietnam 19.7%. Iran is 5.6% and USA 5.1%. Brazil is 2.4% and others country is 24.8%. Malaysian imported natural rubber of 957,300 tons in 2015, mainly from Thailand, which is 52.9%, and Vietnam is 19.7%. Domestic consumption of natural rubber in 2015 was 474,773 tons. Rubber glove industry was the largest industry using natural rubber of 349,031 tons or 73.5%. For the paddy, this statistic depicts the production of rice in Malaysia from 2013 to 2016. In 2016, the production volume of rice in Malaysia totally approximately 1.77 million metric tons. Granary areas refers to major irrigation scheme and recognized by government the national agricultural policies in the main paddy producing. There are 10 granary areas in Malaysia, which is Muda Agricultural Development Agricultural or MADA authority, and second is Kemubu Agricultural Development Authority, which is KADA. Next is Korean Integrated Agricultural Development Area. Next is Barat Laut Selangor Integrated Agricultural Development Area. Next is Seberang Perak Integrated Agricultural Development Area. Next is Pulau Pinang Integrated Agricultural Development Area. Then it is also North Terengganu Integrated Cultural Development, which is Ketara. Next is Kemasin Semara Integrated Agricultural Development Area. And the second last is Pekan Integrated Agricultural Development Area. And the last one is Rompin Integrated Agricultural Development Area. The Agricultural and Agro-Based Industry Ministry wants the country to achieve a 100% self-sufficiency level in paddy production in year 2020. Toward this end, the government would spend 2.2 billion ringgit Malaysia out of the total 6 billion ringgit Malaysia allocated to the ministry in 2015 to help paddy farmers increase their crop level. Malaysian country imported about 900,000 metric ton of rice every year, and the amount did not include about 1 million tons which was smuggled into the country. In an effort to achieve the 100% SSL, farmer had to increase the crop yield to 7 per hectare from the current 6 ton per hectare. For the cocoa is fourth largest commodity crop in Malaysia after oil palm, rubber and timber. Malaysia is the country's 7th largest cocoa blended after Cote d'Ivoire, German, US, Indian and Brazilian. Sabah is a country with the largest cocoa crop area, contribute to 6,881 hectare or 39.6% of the total area of the cocoa cultivation in Malaysia, compared to Sarawak, which is 6,772 hectare or 38.9%, and Peninsular Malaysia of 3,714 hectare or 21.5%. The world's major cocoa producing countries are Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana, Indonesia, Nigeria, Cameroon, Brazil, and Ecuador. Malaysian Cocoa Board is a federal statutory agency under the Ministry of Plantation, Industry and Communities. The main objective for MCB is to develop the cocoa industry in Malaysia to be well integrated and competitive in the global market. Emphasis is given to increasing productivity and efficiency in cocoa bean production and increasing downstream activities. For the other industrial crop, industrial crop is actually a crop going to produce good to be used in the production sector rather than food consumption. Industrial crop impact the economy by providing a product when lessen the need for imports. It is also a designation given to enterprise that attempts to raise the farm sector income and provide economic development activities for the rural area. It is also attempt to provide products that can be used as substitutes for import from other nations. Major example for the industrial product is oil palm, rubber, coconut, cocoa, and other industrial such as pineapple, paper, coffee, tobacco, tea, and major fruit. For coconut, in Malaysia, coconut ranks as fourth most important crop in terms of hectareage planted after oil palm and rubber and so on, and rice. The rise of oil palm as a major source of cooking oil is one factor that caused the decline of coconut industry. By 2007, the area further declined to around 172,000 hectares. As in the rest of the countries in Asia and Pacific region, smallholders dominate coconut production with an average farm size of 2.8 of hectare and producing about 93% of the total coconut in the country. It is estimated that 90,000 farm families are involved of coconut production. Coconut are grown the production of fresh coconut flesh and coconut water for food and beverage as well as coconut oil. Due to the limited size of most small holdings, the small number of trees, the limited labor requirement of the coconut crop, and the limited return provided, most families cannot survive on the income from the coconut crops. And for the pineapple industry is the oldest agricultural export crop. Pineapple cultivation can be divided into two production systems. It is smallholding and the estate sector. Pineapple estate accounted for an average of 62% total pineapple in Malaysia area in Malaysia. For the coffee is plant of the family genus Coffea, whose seeds are called coffee bean that is turned into drinks. It is group of plant that can live up to more than 25 years and grow up high 5 to 15 meters. It is believed to have originated from Ethiopia and then spread to Egypt, Yemen, Italy, all over Europe and the US. Until now, coffee has gained a place all over the world, including Malaysia, which planted coffee as a cash crop. Of the 66 species of the genus, 3 species are commercially cultivated and widely traded in global market. These species are Coffea arabica is 70%, Coffea anaphora, or known as Robusta, is 28%, and the Coffea liberica is 2%. There are 2 varieties of coffee that are commercially grown in Malaysia. It is liberica, where the percentage is 90%, and the Robusta is 10%. In general, Coffea arabica is considered the most traditional coffee with the highest quality in the term of taste and aroma, while Robusta coffee has a higher content of caffeine, which lead to its use as an inexpensive substitute for Arabica. Compared to Arabica, Robusta tends to have bitter taste and more acidic. It is often used an ingredient in some espresso blends to add more flavor at a lower cost. Among these 3 varieties, Robusta coffee is the cheapest with a price range 6 ringgit Malaysia to 10 ringgit Malaysia per kilogram. Followed by Liberica, it is 10 ringgit Malaysia to 16 ringgit Malaysia per kilogram, and the Arabica is 20 ringgit Malaysia and to 25 ringgit Malaysia per kilogram. For international market of coffee, coffee is second commodity mostly traded in the world after petroleum. The main coffee product and exporting countries are Brazil, Vietnam, Indonesia, Colombia, and India. Malaysia was replaced 60th worldwide, which only contribute approximately 0.16% of the world's coffee production. Countries that supplied coffee beans to Malaysia in 2013 were Indonesia, which is 46%, and Vietnam is 35%, and the Brazil is 6%. At the same time, Malaysia also export processed coffee with value-added products to several countries such as Thailand. Thailand is 19%, Singapore 14%, Philippines 8%, and the USA 7%, and Hong Kong is 5%. Generally, the amount of the export by Malaysia are small be growing every year with external growth average of 7.6%. And the total value of the coffee export is greater than the value of import which means which make a positive value balance. The production of coffee in Malaysia is small and shows a downward trend. The planted area has decreased from approximately 7,500 hectare in 2007 to nearly 3,760 hectare in 2013. Production and average productivity of coffee have decreased due to decrease in planted area. The main coffee growing areas in Malaysia are Sabah, Johor, and Selangor. And the last one is paper. In 2016, Malaysia was the 5th in list of countries that produce the most paper in the world with an estimate value of 29,245 metric ton. It is shown an increase of 3.3% compared to 2015, which was 28,300 metric tons. This is followed by Indonesia, which is 70,000 metric tons, and India is 48,500 metric tons, and the Brazil is 45,000 metric tons. There are about 16,300 and 4 smallholder paper growers, of which 95% are Bumi Putra.
What the importance of agricultural marketing?
Firstly, the important agricultural marketing is specialization. It is where the business focuses on the production of a limited scope products or services to gain greater productive efficiency. Second is source of income. Marketing provides many opportunities to earn profit of the process of buying and selling the goods, and this income and profit. A profit are reinvested to earning more profit in the future. Third is a physical function. Marketing leads to the provisions of adequate transport and communication facilities. For example, is road, railway, and so on, and storage facilities and financial arrangement. And the last one is career opportunities. Generate employment for people in such areas of buying, selling, marketing, research, advertising, financing, transport, warehousing, risk bearing, and the standardization, and so on. For the second last is helps in transfer, exchange, and movement of goods. Marketing process enable transaction and distribution of agricultural output. Marketing facilitates the transfer of ownership between seller and buyers. And the last one is development of an economy. Marketing contributes to achieving business profit and growth. The more organized the marketing organization makes the economy more strong and stable.
This is the end of the chapter 10.
Thank you for watching.